You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Speaking of advice, that's the next topic I want to discuss. I told you we'd get to this because, we ain't always going to the right people to find out what we should do in our relationships. It's like the person who doesn't have any kids who's got the best advice on how to raise kids. It's the female who don't got a man who's telling somebody that's married what they should do in their marriage. And so, just what are your thoughts about just the whole bad advice and who you should definitely stay away from?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
You want to, bro?
Yeah.
All right.
Of this, I believe that now this isn't going to be popular at all, right?
Okay. Oh, Lord.
You need to get as much good and bad advice as possible. Because if you don't get every perspective, you're subject to go down the wrong road. You need to be able to hear some stories that you can decide yourself without going down that road if that's right for you or not right for you. Now, that's a dangerous thing to do because not everybody can leave it on the skin without letting it inside of them. But me personally, I'd rather hear every good and bad scenario and then make my determination as for what I want to go through. Because when you only hear it's not everything is going to be good, not everything's going to be bad. But if you hear only one side, that has no choice but to help you formulate your opinion to fit that. Either you're going to push away from it or gravitate to it. But when you got that whole mixing bowl and you can look at where they're living, you can look at what they come from, you know what I'm saying? You can look at the company they keep. You can look at people that you never thought would have understood you. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what their color, race, creed, all this type of thing. When you get all these different stories, you can help formulate. Now, the danger of that is you might think you know everything. Without living the circumstance. So I'll take the risk of hearing everybody's opinion and then going off to my safe space and trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Man, advice is sometimes you just really just have to, I remember my dad used to always say, because he would do premarital counseling and stuff like that. And people would come into the office and he said, look, some of these issues y'all got, I can't solve them. You really need to go talk to a therapist or you really need to go talk to this person because there's a level of, I don't know, that I just don't know.
When Dad said, God can't help this.
And look, hey, real deal. Look, God
can't work in this right here.
Lord, white Jesus to fix you, and you are a narcissist. No, he ain't fixing that right there. Yeah. You got to go get some additional help. So I think people just have to have a level of discernment again okay. And also I think couples need to ask themselves this questions. And this will really help when you're getting advice. Because I know Charles and I, and just other friends of mine, thinking of my buddy Lou, shout out to Lou up in New York. I always say, man, what do you want this thing to look like? Do y'all have an agreement of what y'all want your relationship to look like? And then that's a good place to kind of start sometimes. And that's not even, you think about it, forget about relationships. Yeah. That's just in life in general. What do I want my life to look like? And sometimes you can start checking those boxes, Max, and you're like, well, dang, I asked him what he wanted to look like. I want to live in Northern Virginia. He want to move to Florida. He want he want to bring in 17 other kids. He want to adopt 9 children. I don't want to do none of that. Yeah. But in order for you to get to that point, you got to start asking those kind of questions. So the advice is going to be the same exact way. People, as a friend, Charles, okay, what do you want the outcome of this to look like? Okay, all right, cool. Okay, well, what does she want it to look like? Okay, all right, that makes sense. But sometimes friends are not even asking those questions. Well, Charles, what you doing, man? She did what? Nah, bro, you know what I'm saying? Bro, this is what you need to do. We about to go grab some chicken, you know what I'm saying? I got the helicopter right. Listen, y'all laughing. Yeah. Literally, people are not asking about both sides. Yeah. They're not doing anything. And that's why I think it's a little dangerous, Razor, because it's like you and I know when we have communication with anything. Okay, all right, tell me your side. Okay, well, what did they say? Okay, so I need a balanced reference point of where it's coming from. Yeah. But most people don't want a balanced reference point. Yeah. I want you to validate how I feel.
Right
so
there.
then the other here and there.
Hey, Charles.
With no evidence.
Charles.
Keep it right there. Hold
Charles,
on.
hold on, Charles. I got real quick.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that I have to add this to it. When I look at the three of us, we have to where all of us
Just
been
y'all
married.
two, not me.
We got separation. We got combined families. That's the main reason I need so many different people, because I am part of a combined family. So it's a lot different when you looking at your wife and yourself saying, okay, the kids get this from us. They get that from me, they get that from you. But when most African-American families, we have combined families. So now you also have to learn what's in that other parent that's in that child. So then you have to, your information and your black love has to extend to the people that sometimes you wouldn't naturally be around. Like what's in that type of person. Forget names, who they are. You say, if a person did this, I'm not going to be around them. That may be a person that's in your family right now. You know what I'm saying? And you have to learn to love in that on something that might, that spirit might not coincide with your spirit.
Speaking from... Go ahead, Charles. If you were going to say something as a follow-up to what Razor said.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah, like that tied into where Aaron left off. Like I wanted to keep it there real quick. And I know we got a break for your next topic. But so I'll try to be brief. But that whole point, because I agree with what they're saying, Max, but I want to take it from a different perspective when it comes to that advice thing, which is whether you're married or whether you're single, be wary of the ulterior motives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
And
discernment.
And fellas,
That's right.
Let's be hunted. Let's be hunted. Majority of the time, when your ego is being stroked as a man for that person to get what they want. Yeah. We know it. So we know off the top that even in the face of that temptation, that's it. That's advice we should not take.
That is
get
true.
Get away from that advice, because majority of the time men know. But again, that ego, like you said, that ego, they say what they know you want to hear. They fill those holes, that gaps, and then your mind thinks, okay, well, I probably could trust this person, but nah, like the ego is being stroked. So that's what I wanted to chime in with Max on that when it comes to who you shouldn't take advice from.
Be careful if she say you got a nice haircut and you ain't got no haircut. You know where that's going, bro.
Speaking from the black female perspective, I think that there is actually a shortage of good advice from black women. And I think that
she got
a lot of that.
Wait a minute, black girl magic. Black girl magic.
I think a lot of that.
Everybody lean back from the microphone. That's funny.
Being under the pressure of having to give the world the appearance that we're perfect and everything is in order and we don't deal with any issues. Some of it is us not wanting to be exposed and vulnerable with what it is that we truly are dealing with. Some of it is being in competition with other people, knownst and unbeknownst, and whatever issues. So, and then oftentimes we don't end up getting any advice until, something horrible has happened that could have potentially been avoided. And then, if you're lucky, you'll find somebody who'll sit down with you and, help you get through whatever it is that you're going through. And, if we love ourselves, if we love our black people as a community, as a whole, we got to figure out a way to get past that. Yeah. Like it doesn't benefit anybody, because something I got may benefit the next woman, and something the next woman has may benefit me. But, living under this guise it's not authentic, and maybe that don't matter to some people, but it's just not real. And that's not a situation that I particularly care to be living in, where can't be my full authentic self, which is a lot of times why I come on this show and be like, this is what it is. Yeah. This is what it ain't. Because I can't.
Yeah, and Razor and I were talking about how therapeutic it is just to turn on these lights when these mics go live. It's like we just get in the zone. Yeah. But you spot on, Max, because there's nothing uglier to me than when we fight, and then there's nothing more beautiful than seeing black people love each other.
Yeah.
Both ends of the spectrum for me.
And
Absolutely.
sometimes I will tell you to go listen to some City Girls, and then sometimes I will say
Here
go
go
listen
Aaron.
to some Marvin Sapp.
you
But it's
go.
coming from
Here
the
you
same
go.
place. It's coming
Real
from the same.
form
Hey,
to
look.
that.
Never would have made it in twerk can be in the same
Hey, look.
space.
And if you don't believe him, check my text.
But
plead
you know,
the
in terms of like of who you should stay away from, it for as far as getting bad advice or whatnot, you got to be bad. You got to be know who you are. You know, you personally have to find balance, and then if you are centered and in that right space, you know when you talking to somebody who telling you something that ain't right, that's all the way wrong. Do not listen. Do not pass go. You know.
Yeah, you know. You know.
So
Max,
yeah.
a wise person once said, "Look at the fruit that they bear."
There you go.
And
That's
if
it.
you see that she got some rotten
That's
fruit, 47 baby daddies, and
That's it.
listen, run, bro.
Yeah, and it's nothing worse. Let me tell you, it's nothing worse than for a female to go to somebody, to confide in somebody, right? And then that person, even though that female is dealing with some issues with their significant other, that person says something against that person, that their significant other. Because then you feel it, hold, like they still mine though. Hold up, pump your brakes.
Yeah.
And that's because you went to the wrong person for your advice. You got to be careful.
Discernment.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, Max, I gotta say, because you're making me think. It's like a therapist told me, you know, that like everybody is, you know, is also different, but like you got to meet people at their needs.
Yes.
And that's why I was talking about how the comparison kills, because like just, you know, like what you just said, when you really being honest and really communicating, fact of the matter is sometimes you can be like, yeah, we probably shouldn't be together. But then as long as you fully honest and communicating, then you can be like, no, this is worth saving. This is worth working out. But that communication is key. And again, like the therapist told me, it's like and it doesn't matter if you're a swinger in a relationship, don't matter if you have an open relationship, it don't matter if you have a 100% committed relationship. It's about communication, because professionals have told me that they've seen any of those relationships work as long as the people in the relationship are communicating with each other.
And they have agreements. Absolutely.
Now let me ask you something.
You go.
All right.
Are you about to ask a question about swinging or polygamy?
How you want it? No. But
And I was waiting for an advocate for this, but we didn't get there yet. So I'm just messing with
now, when everything that we talking about, right? When we group together, going back to the heart of the show, Black Love, right? It sounds like there is no blueprint. Like there is nothing that's right. There is nothing that's wrong.
Yeah, you paint your own Basquiat.
Yeah, there is no blueprint. So it sounds like what we're telling people is be honest with who you are first before you try to develop what you have as a relationship.
Yeah, and raising to that point, like to me, the Black Love fits in there, like the, you know, sort of the landscape that we're drawing for the people is that, like, and Max said it, like when we're our authentic selves, like as a people, that is such a beautiful thing. But like so many of us have been taught in many ways a Western way of how we should appear and how we should live, to where we don't even know who we are. But once we know who we are and we live in the fullness of that, that's a beautiful thing.
I've seen this, right? Okay, going on the Black Love part. We can have things that if society has pitted what is naturally us as to being a negative version of us, we'll say, okay, well, don't do this because that's too black. Don't do this because you acting white. You know, like those things translate over to Black Love because it shows how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Says a
So
lot. How you love
that
yourself says a
bothers
lot.
me when we start looking at people saying we can use this person but not use this person in this realm because they may exemplify what the masses looks like under black people.
Right.
I got a problem with that, right? We as a whole, black people, black community, decide when we want to exalt something about ourselves. And it goes a lot of times to whatever society says is acceptable.
Right.
So where is the Black Love in that?
You spot on.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
Miss Max, I know we hit at least a couple topics up in there somewhere, Miss Max. So you want to take us to break before we go to your next?
Do we need to take a break? I think we do.
Yeah. We've been at it for a while. Let's
take a quick break.
ease up on
We'll
their
come back
ears a
and
little
kinda
bit.
Yeah,
finish up
they
our
tuned in. They
conversation.
loving this.
Oh, they are.
They can't get this nowhere else.
Especially in the next segment, we talk about black love, swinging, and polygamy. The gumbo that everybody
Hey, look,
want
I
to
gotta
eat.
get him, Charles.
Tune in. Do not miss.
What radio host have you ever seen pull out CarMax in the middle of a thing, grease their lips up
Hey,
and
look,
stick it in their right
I
pocket,
did do
Mr.
that.
Simmons?
I
Shea
forgot I was
butter?
on camera.
But go ahead, Charles. Did we
camera.
have a comment?
Shea
Did we
Butter
have
act
a
like
comment?
he ain't on camera. Yeah, Miss Max. So as we go to break, once again, they're loving it today, Miss Max, and supporting Cass.
They got him on camera.
They are
too.
loving it today. And we're getting a lot of comments saying, things like preach and totally, and just in agreement. So like we said, family, please keep sharing us on your social medias. IMHO Talk Show. Keep sending that good feedback so we can keep
If you love
giving the
us,
people what they
everybody
want.
share. Everybody share our Facebook post one time. Subscribe
Not
to
just share.
YouTube. Share Facebook.
Subscribe.
Show some black love. How
Get
about that?
subscriptions. Get subscriptions turned into offering.
Yeah.
I told you he was going to ask y'all for some money eventually. Right.
And buy this one reel.
All right, and
All right, let's
and
take a break.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.